respond to, which gives you a sense of the severity of this issue. If you are just joining us, or maybe you're joining us from another network that just went to national broadcast, it's now 6:30, and we are on the air with live local coverage of the Palisades fire. Alex Michelson, Marla Tea is here with you tonight throughout the night here on Fox 11, on Fox 11 Plus, streaming on the Fox local app. We want to go to Haley Winslow right now, who has a representative from the fire department to give us the latest information. Haley.
Yeah, I'm sure you recognize this face. This is one of the public information officers for LAFD, firefighter David Ortiz. He's been here all day, obviously, at the forefront of all this. First of all, we see the flames behind your shoulder. It's obviously a little bit frightening as this fire continues to move southwest. What's the latest, and what's the plan tonight as we're feeling these winds definitely pick up?
Well, the plan tonight is to put the various strike teams into the neighborhoods that the fire might start new fires. The majority of the head of the body of the fire has burned in various directions. We have zero containment on this fire, and so we have open front all around this fire. All the communities that surround this fire are in a threat. All right, and so because of that threat, it's difficult to pre-stage a fire engine at every single home. So it's a guessing game for us. We have strategically placed fire companies where we think the fire might go, but we're also keeping mobile and moving these resources around to engage the fire at every opportunity. There's opportunities in certain areas where the fire is not being pushed by the wind because the wind is super strong right now, and we can have all the water in the world and not be able to stop the forward progress of the fire. As you can see, certain spot fires have started in other areas, like you see behind us, and once one ember lands into that area, you get a new fire start. And those can carry 1 mile, 2 miles down the road. It's hard to predict. So a lot of people don't see fire around them, around their home, and they have false sense of security because embers can be cast in all sorts of directions. If you're in the area where an evacuation order was given, it's time to get out. Conditions are going to get worse. Winds are going to pick up. It's dry. It's windy. It's a perfect scenario for a fire.
Yeah, the National Weather Service still saying that this is on par to be the strongest ANAS of the season, and it's looking like it's expected that you guys are going to be here for several days. During our news conference a little bit ago, we had almost 50-mile-per-hour gusts. You can definitely feel it's really picked up. I know it's definitely, you can feel it, the difference. What would you say to people? I know a couple of friends of mine were trapped in there, and there was a little bit of miscommunication, with trying to be first told to get out and then told not to get out. And obviously there's no signal, so it really complicates things.
Right, so a lot of the evacuations are done neighborhood by neighborhood. If you hear police officers coming through your neighborhood over the PA, it's time to evacuate. Immediately when a fire starts, the first thing we tell folks is to shelter in place and wait for direction, especially during the beginning of the fire, because we don't know what's going to be impacted. When we give an order to evacuate, we don't want to be like Chicken Little and tell people to evacuate in the area and get out of the area unless it's absolutely necessary. So until we know where the fire is going, that's when we can give an evacuation order. We have established the direction of the fire, which way the fire is expected to move. We have a computer that predetermines and calculates the speed and rate which the fire is going to be moving, and then we can predict what zones we can evacuate. But separate from that, independent from that, we also have areas that are immediately threatened. We don't need the chief or the person in charge of this incident to tell us to evacuate an area. That the division that's running the fire, the chief that's at that scene, at that community, can take independent action and order an evacuation of a community. So if you hear those police officers over the PA telling you to evacuate, even if they haven't given an evacuation order via the news, or you haven't received one on your phone, you need to get out. A lot of the phone service is intermittent right now, so you might not even receive an evacuation order. When in doubt, if you feel threatened, get out.
Yeah, and I understand there's still definitely some people in there there still tonight that are trapped. Our anchor, before you go, I know you're in high demand. Our anchor, Marla Tejas, has a question for you. Marla, go ahead real quick and I'll relay the information.
We just put out a number for firefighters who are watching to call. This is per LAFD. LAFD saying we really are strapped for resources. Can you put out this number to get us more firefighters? Can you ask them about that and the reality of, what they're up against tonight?
Yeah, good question. So this was something that we kind of talked about at the presser, that there was something put out that there's not enough firefighters and that you guys need more resources. Now, we heard, I think it was Eric Scott saying that you guys have all boots on the ground, you've got more resources coming overnight, you've got CAL FIRE deployed, and if need be, you can get more boots on the ground, aircraft in the air from other states. What's the plan as these winds continue to strengthen, and what's the reality of the resources that you currently have right now trying to fight this?
So, for the time being right now, as far as my understanding is that we have adequate resources on this fire. We are limited to our ability to fly because when these winds do pick up, they have to do a risk analysis whether they can fly or not at night. And water drops are ineffective when the winds pick up to a certain point. So it's a risk versus gain. Is it worth risking the lives of those pilots and firefighters in the air to drop water that's ineffective versus trying to figure that out? So our firefighters are out there. They're pre-deployed. We have resources from all over the state that have arrived. We have these resources in place. The question comes up is, will we have enough resources? Should we have a second or third or fourth brush fire, which is very potential right now? We have low humidity. We have high winds. And a new fire can start anywhere in Southern California, in Riverside, San Bernardino County, etc. So resources are being focused here. But if our resources are stretched, they can be stretched to a certain point where we will not have enough resources. So that is a good point. But for now, we do have adequate resources on this. We have more resources coming, but we do have to rotate our people through and get them rest, get them fed, and then back out on the line.
Now, I have a couple friends who are on the line right now, and they're kind of on standby, and they finally were able to get out. There's a lot of people obviously still trapped, and they have no idea. Even with a Ring camera, you have no idea what's going on with your house if there's no signal. So what would be your message tonight for the people still trapped, for the people who don't know what's going on with their homes? And then this is only one fire. We still have 2 or 3 days left of these winds, and could easily see another one of these pop up.
Yeah, so if you're in doubt, your first priority is the safety of your family, and you have to make that decision whether or not should I stay. This is not your typical fire where you see homeowners with a garden hose and putting little embers of fire and vegetation around, ornamental vegetation around their house that might catch a small fire. This wind it causes the fire to have extreme fire behavior, and it's explosive. Once you get an ember landing into a fuel bed, it's 100% receptive, and it's off to the races. So if you feel that you're in a community that is threatened by this fire immediately, you're anywhere near around where this fire is, you should be getting out if you're in that evacuation zone. That's why we made that evacuation zone for 30,000 people, because all those people that are surrounding the fire, we have zero control over the fire. The fire can jump the line and can expand beyond where it has established itself.
Thank you very much, firefighter teams. Be very safe out there tonight. Now, I know you guys have another briefing at 8 o'clock in the morning. I've got a friend on standby right now we talked to earlier, him and his wife, and just want to real quickly, Eric, if you could just tell me what it was like trying to get out of that fire with flames on both sides.
Well, it moved so fast. When we got the first time down to the bottom of the road on Palisades Drive, we were turned around by the level of smoke and flame.
Eric, we're going to have to get back to you. I'm sorry. We're going to have to get back to you. I'm sorry. We'll have much more on that coming up in just a little bit. I'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Haley, thanks so much. As live look from our Santa Monica cam, and those flames still ferocious as ever. Let's check in with Ed Lascos. He is there, right in the village there in the Palisades. Ed?
Yes, Marla, we are right in the heart of now this evacuation. Stop by just black and white lounge to the city. Evacuated now. It's on Sunset. This is red ripped across this half road. It's just a block of road. You also took a lot of the village in the Palisades. And there's a burning effort forward to right to left on your screen. That's one of the new homes that we were doing now, right up to the place. fire earlier hit the right side, all these homes, half dozen homes, and then the wind slowly drops, blowing all those embers and those homes on the other side, now pitching as well. We finally saw, since we've been in the last couple of hours, 2 fire engines coming down. They run around the bed, and one of them backed up and actually left location. The other one around the bed because they're trying to get ahead of this fire, ahead of the embers, as they are blowing crossways, heading down east. Now, it's interesting because LAPD, this area, most of these we've been here, has been evacuated. You just have a lot of looky-loos coming through. But LAPD coming out saying with that grim warning, mandatory evacuation, get out now, head east on Sunset. That is the way. West on Sunset takes you to Temescal. Over in that area, through all the smoke, is about a block or two over Temescal. That is Palisades High School. We've already seen that has been burning as the flames and the embers move this way. And Mikey gives you a look what's left of these homes. These were homes that had been here looking probably for several decades in this beautiful area. Tree-lined street here in the Palisades. Now smoldering rubble and those embers from the flames just picking up, going over. And we've got at least 2 homes on the far left-hand side burning as the fire continues to spread to the east side. And that is the big concern here. But at least this area, just a block south of Yelson's itself, if you're familiar with this, we're right in the heart of the village. It's now under that evacuation mandatory order with LAPD going street to street, block by block on their loudspeakers and saying, get out now. And if you're leaving, head east on Sunset. That is the way. Mike, you want to take, we have a quick second, and I think we're okay here. Let's go down and give you an idea. Look how ferocious these winds are. This is something also that we're watching out because LAPD's been telling about all the looky-loos. You have a lot of down lines, and you've got to make sure because they could be energized, which would be very, very dangerous, deadly. So they've been on their loudspeakers as well saying, stay away. But look at this devastation down Radcliffe here off Haverford. My goodness, looks like a bomb blew through here. This was a beautiful 3-story home a couple of hours ago. Nothing but smoldering rubble. And the embers blowing across right to left. You can feel the intense heat as you walk through here. Here's one home that is fully engulfed. And right to the left of it, Mikey, you see some flames up on the top of the roof. That home, we're losing that home too as the winds come through and the embers blow through here. Right in the heart of this firestorm. Again, the winds with those embers blowing through. You can also see how the winds are picking up. Here comes a fire truck right around. Finally coming through here. We're seeing some firefighters moving here, probably trying to get some water on, trying to control these embers as they're blowing through. Because you have this out-of-control fire and the winds blowing across. They'll blow across in the next block. Further east, you've got more spot fires, and that's the big concern. Marlon, Alex, you were talking about a call for LA City firefighters. Look at this. Long Beach Fire Department, Engine 10, pulling in here to try to help out with this firefight. So we've got folks from Long Beach. I saw some earlier from Glendale coming in here. So it's an all-out firefight. Everybody hands on deck, mutual aid, helping LA City Fire. And this home we are losing as these embers blow through here. This is the home right next to the one that's fully engulfed. And here come the firefighters as they try to figure out their line of attack. And at this point, I don't think you're going to be able to save this home, unfortunately, but trying maybe to control the spread of embers. And I'm thinking doing structure protection on the home right next to it. That's what he's talking about. Structure protection right over here to keep those flames from jumping across this 2-story home. As you're right in the middle of this firefight here on Radcliffe, just off Haverford. It looks, I don't have the words. Bomb, war zone. Look at this. These homes, beautiful, stood here for decades through this area, now smoldering. You got the embers and the wind still blowing from west to east, and that's the problem. This home is gone. Started with some shrubbery burning out front a little while ago, and bang, just like that, it is up in flames. Here, I think we got the firefighters. That's what they're talking about here. They want to try to do some structure protection. This home, though, has already got fire burning on the top of its roof, but they're going to try to get some water on it to keep those embers from burning to the home next to it. But this is a good sign in the sense, since we've been here the last couple of hours, these are the first firefighters we've actually seen move in here with an engine trying to get some control on this. And this is the engine 10 for the city of Finally have some try. Finally getting a line. It's the first line. Come on, we can actually see some water going up to the top of that roof. Trying to get this house down, trying to control those embers. But here again, this is an area in the village, the part of the village where LA PD just went by a little while ago. They're black and white telling everybody it's a mandatory evacuation. Get out, run out now, and head east on Sunset. Evacuation is unsafe to be here. I would think most of the folks that have already left. There was that big log jam of traffic a couple of hours ago. Most folks are already gone. But as this fire moves in this direction with those embers and the winds blowing very strongly from west to east to Mesco and Palisades High, over further in this direction over to Chautauqua, that is the concern. They've been trying to get a lot of the folks out of the city where they all are, and now we've got some structural protection here. And the first line on this home, which is burning on the up top of the upstairs area, burning because the home next to it is gone. Just like that, these winds from a big cascade through a little while ago. Embers, a sea of embers, and some of the shrubs on fire, and the home went up just like that, and now the home next to it is burning. And that is the concern. People talk about the embers of this tree. See these embers, if they catch onto a tree like that, the tree starts burning, you got more embers flying, and that's why it's just so very hard to control anything like this. As this fire roars through here, with the wind propelling it forward, but it's a fire. This is just a reminder of how so often this is kind of the luck of the draw. How lucky this Blue Homes homeowner is that this is when the fire department finally shows up. Firefighters had to come all the way from Long Beach to do this. And that home could end up being saved by this, but these homes, just because there wasn't anybody there, they are not. Are total losses. So many of them on this street. Hopefully that this particular street can start going in the other direction. But it's a reminder, Marlon, as we see the fire crews from Long Beach, that the winds are supposed to get worse, not only in Pacific Palisades, but all over Southern California. And there's nothing to stop another fire like this from starting somewhere else.
Unfortunately, I have this news just coming across from LA County Fire Department and the Angeles National Forest. They are responding to a new brush fire burning in the Eaton Canyon area above Altadena. So at this point, it just started, no word on acreage, but again, firefighters from both LA County Fire and Angeles National Forest responding to a new brush fire in Altadena, above Altadena in the Eaton Canyon area. So that's what we were just talking about with the gentleman from LAFD saying that, we have resources here, but what happens when another fire breaks out?
Right. And I've been seeing some messages of people saying that they're seeing fire from Pasadena, so that makes sense that would be that fire. And we'll see about getting eyes on it. It's a little bit challenging for us because of to fly the chopper tonight, not only because of the winds, but also because of some flight restrictions because of President Biden still being in Southern California. So it may be challenging for us to get eyes on that. But if you're watching us and you have a video of that or are seeing that, please send it to us via social media, tag us, tweet it at us, all the rest of it. It'd be interesting to see what that fire is starting to look like. Hopefully it's nothing close to this. Hopefully that fire stays out, in vegetation and away from homes. What's so bad about this Palisades fire is, as you can see, it has impacted so many structures. Christy Fajardo has been seeing all that up close for several hours now. She joins us now. Go ahead.
I know.
Christy, you're on. I don't know if you can hear us. Christy, you're on. I don't know if you can hear us.
Hey, so just literally seconds ago, that we heard a very loud boom, and it was a tree coming down, and it hit those power lines.
Whoa.
You can see them sparking. We're trying to get away from them. This is a very, very dangerous situation that firefighters are dealing with, and there was actually an LAPD cruiser going through just as that tree came down, barely missed hitting it. And I want to pan this way and show you, we're actually at Antioch and Swarthmore, and there are buildings here on fire. And these palm trees really underscore the danger. They look beautiful, but when you get those rains of ember, this is what happens. A lot of these trees catch fire very easily. The wind also knocks down some of the palm fronds, and that catches fire everything, or lights on fire everything beneath it. In fact, if we pan down, you can see there are some palm fronds on fire there on the sidewalk. And still, we're seeing people evacuating. Again, the LAPD just came through. They were on the megaphone. They were telling people to leave, and we're hearing booms. I don't know if you just heard that all around us. It appears to be transformers catching fire and blowing up. And again, very hazardous and dangerous situation that we are witnessing firsthand here at Swarthmore in Antioch. And to give you some perspective, we did not even move that far. When you came out to us live the last time, we were about a block and a half away at Sunset and Via de la Paz. And drive a block, and this is what you see. So firefighters really have a monster fight on their hands. Right now, we're not seeing any resources here, but again, we are seeing LAPD officers, and we need to get out of here. So I'm going to send it back to you.
Okay, Christy, be safe. That's the most important thing. Do your thing. We'll get back to you when it is safe to do so. And you know, it's a very real threat for her, for the firefighters that are out there, and a reminder why the safest thing for people to do is to listen to the mandatory evacuation orders. Part of the reason that we are there is to be documenting and do so in a safe way, and often in conjunction with the fire department. We train for this sort of situation with them multiple times a year to go through this in a safe way, but this is one of the worst situations that we've seen in many, many years here.
This is a live look, pardon me, not a live look, this is a map per CAL FIRE, and it gives you sort of a sense of the Palisades fire. Last check, not long ago, CAL FIRE updated the acreage to 2,921 acres, so just under 3,000 acres have burned so far, and then we're just getting word about a new fire that's broken out above Altadena. We've seen some images of it. This is in the Eaton Canyon area. LA County Fire is on this one, and the Angeles National Forest also battling this fire. We do have Gina Silva, our reporter. She is headed to that Altadena area fire to bring you the latest there. Here's a live picture. This is our Santa Monica cam. Those flames very active still, and they will continue to be so. Let's check in with our chief meteorologist, Adam Kruger, for the latest on those winds. Adam.
Yes, we have a lot to talk about here. I'm going to start, though, with the three main takeaways. If you're just kind of like joining in late today on the coverage, you know, we've been on for hours and hours with what's going on. But the three main takeaways is the fact that the winds are going to peak later on tonight. I'd say 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. tomorrow is going to be our most concerning window where the winds will be strongest. And also, the humidity goes down even more tomorrow, a little bit drier tomorrow. And also worth noting that extreme conditions like what we've been seeing in the Pacific Palisades are actually widespread and occurring over a large part of Southern California. And, I hope there are no more fires, but I was just thinking a moment ago, before we heard about the one a little north of Pasadena, and we don't know to the extent of that one yet, but I was just thinking, like, I'm almost surprised there's not more going on, and it seems there might be just happening right now. All right, so now to get a little sciencey before we dive into the specific wind forecasts and humidity forecasts, I want to share with you why we expect tonight the winds to peak a little bit. So we've got a setup in the atmosphere a little bit higher up. You may have heard of the jet stream. So those are the fast-moving winds that are a couple miles above where we live down here at the surface. And right now the jet stream kind of follows this path like this. And there's a little burst, a strong part of the jet stream just on the north or northwest side of this low. And that's getting lined up right over our area. That's adding an extra boost to the winds. That's happening right around 9 to 10 o'clock tonight. And it's within this white circle right here. Now, as that low moves farther south, notice this is noon tomorrow, then that most intense part of the winds, a little higher up in the atmosphere, starts going south of us. But that's why through the night tonight and tomorrow morning, we have that extra enhancement to the wind speeds. And that's why, again, the peak is really, I'd say, 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. for tomorrow morning. Now, we have the red flag warning. No surprise, that's in effect for just about all of Southern California for Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday. A part of Los Angeles and LA County is carved out of that, but all these other areas continue on Thursday in a red flag warning. And the National Weather Service has a fire weather watch in effect for these areas in orange on Friday, which means means on Friday, this may turn into a red flag warning. This gives you an idea that we're looking at a prolonged Santa Ana wind event. The strongest winds, though, you know that, will be tonight and into tomorrow morning. We have the high wind warnings expiring at 6 p.m. tomorrow. After that point, the severity of the winds will be backing down, but still, it's an offshore wind, a dry wind, dry conditions, and gusty all the way potentially into Friday. Now into the future gusts, which is the forecast wind gusts, and I'll remind you that gusts will be the burst of wind at times, so not like sustained winds, not an average wind speed, but just how strong it could burst at certain moments. And as we start at 7 o'clock, you're going to notice when I go from 7 p.m. to 9 a.m., a pretty drastic increase in the forecast wind speed. So look at this. We've got 50s and 60s on the map. Anywhere you see purple is 35 and above, but obviously you see some numbers that are higher than that. And again, we mentioned this was breaking just a short time ago, 5 minutes ago or so. We learned of a fire, a brush fire, a little bit north of Pasadena. So that's another spot to watch, and look what the forecast wind gusts that are there at about 9 o'clock tonight, along with the Pacific Palisades. The other thing worth noting here is the wind direction. We've seen the winds pretty consistently out of the north or out of the north-northeast, so kind of like this direction. You see the streamlines going right here. We expect that wind direction to pretty much be the same throughout the event. Which means, you know, if you're watching from, let's say, Santa Monica, I know this fire's not that far off, but keep in mind the winds are not blowing this towards Santa Monica. That would be a northwest wind. This is more north to northeast wind, and we expect that wind direction to kind of hold the way it is right now. All right, now as we go later into the night, you can see 2 o'clock in the morning. Again, intense winds just take over a large part of the map here through the night. Here's 4 a.m. Still the same story. Some spots you might see gusts over 60. There's a lot of 60s on the map there. Here we go into 11